All right, guys, back with another one. So today we are going to do kind of I'm going to call it a will it run, but it'll be a will it crank, will it turn over, is it seized? I don't know. We'll find out. So we'll get this hood prop up and start going from there. We will, I guess, see if it's even free or if it's locked up first, and then we'll either have to run and get some spark plug wires. I think they're all here. They're pretty junky. Yeah, if they're all here, we might throw them on, just see what happens. See if we've got any spark at all, if we get that far today. So, all right, let's see if it's freed up. All right, let's see if I can grab it by hand and turn it over first. If not, we'll grab a socket and breaker bar or something, but here goes nothing. Not surprising, it didn't want to budge by hand. I'll grab a breaker bar and a socket. We'll be right back. Okay, I couldn't get in there with a breaker bar. I got a 1/2-inch ratchet on it with a socket though. That'll be plenty. If it's gonna go, it'll go. Any more than that, and I wouldn't want to force it anyway. I'll pull the plugs if they'll come out. Try not to break any of those off, and we'll just soak the cylinders in tranny fluid for a while and see if we can't free it up. But we'll see if it'll go for me. Bolts loose. Does appear to be seized. Not surprising. Okay. So we will try to get the plugs pulled, and then from there, if there's plugs in it. Yeah, there's plugs in it. Okay. So we'll try to get the plugs pulled safely without breaking them. Get some tranny fluid in there soaking, and then this will probably turn into another cleaning video. We'll try to get some of the chrome cleaned up, get the grill cleaned up, the bumper cleaned up, rear bumper cleaned up. Most of the trim's nice. The window trim and stuff, it's not in any condition that would be fascinating to watch clean. Yeah, so hopefully we can get the plugs out. We'll start there. All right. Got sockets and extension and ratchet to see if we can get these plugs pulled. I did not spray them or anything. We're just gonna go for it, and if in the next clip you see a easy outset on one of the fenders or somewhere, then you'll know I regret that decision and it didn't go too smooth. So let's see what happens. All right, well, I pretended like I didn't care, but I don't want to waste time breaking plugs off and having to easy out, especially it's not super tight, but it's crammed in there enough. It wouldn't be an enjoyable time. So I got 1 out of 4 off on this side. The other ones weren't budging at all. They were starting to make cracking noises and stuff. I'd assume the porcelain was cracking. So we're just gonna go ahead and spray them all and let them soak, and at least then if I break 6 or 7 of them off, I can pretend I tried. So we'll spray them all, let them soak, and like I said, I guess we'll just move on to some more cleanup and some hopefully the grill and bumper cleaning will be satisfying to watch. Alright, good news. I didn't video it. It would have been boring anyway, but I got all the plugs out. 2 of them broke, but just the porcelain broke, and luckily they didn't break off in the cylinder heads. I don't know which other one was broke now. I don't know. There's 2 of them broke though. So now I've got my transmission fluid I'm using. I'm just going to put 1 or 2 pumps in each cylinder. You don't need a ton in there. You just want to cover the top of the piston. You want to let it, obviously make sure all the way around it it's soaking and it's sitting on the getting down where the piston rings are seized in the cylinders. So we'll do that, and then I think we're probably gonna we'll at least let it sit till it's like noon, so we'll give it a good 6-8 hours. We may even just go ahead and let it sit overnight, but I imagine I'll get antsy and later this afternoon want to see what it does. The back bumper I got cleaned up pretty decent. A lot of scuffs, scratches. There's some pretty deep scuffs too, but overall for what it was, I mean, it's a good driver quality bumper now. So I'll get some tranny fluid in the cylinders, and I'll pick you guys back up later when I go to see what's going on with them. See if we free it up. Okay, fast forward a little bit. It's the next day. I let the transmission fluid soak in the cylinders overnight. So plugs are out. We'll see. I've got everything set up. Got jumper cables hooked up. I got it to turn over a tiny bit at the flywheel, so I got power to it. I guess we'll get in and just see if the starter will do anything. I don't know if it'll be strong enough to even want to crank or anything. It does not. Well, I would say that it's just a junk or weak starter not wanting to engage, but I would imagine we're probably got some buildup on the cylinder walls, or the rings might still be stuck. It didn't want to go, and I didn't want to force it too much, so we might pop the valve covers off and just make sure there's not a valve stuck open or something, because who knows what condition any of this stuff's in, and who knows what condition it was in when it was parked. Was it running actually, or was it junk, or it's hard telling. So we'll probably pull these valve covers, maybe tap on the rockers and make sure everything's free. Got the valve covers off, and I am very surprised by how clean everything looks. So that's all. All the valves appear to be free. Doesn't seem like anything stuck open, hitting a piston or anything. So I'm going to soak the cylinder some more. I was going to grab some ATF and some diesel. I've used ATF and diesel. I've used ATF and acetone. I was really hoping tranny fluid by itself would free this one up, but that's not the case. So I ended up grabbing some Marvel Mystery Oil. I've heard a ton of stories of people using this successfully. I've never used it, but I figured on this one it's worth a shot, do something different and see if it works. So I'll get all that added in to each cylinder, and then we're gonna let it sit a little longer. Okay, I got some Marvel Mystery Oil in each cylinder soaking. I put it in the tranny fluid quart container because of the little pump deal I had didn't fit on the Marble Mistral. So it's got some tranny fluid in there too. There was still, I don't know, a few ounces left in there. So that mix is sitting in the cylinders. Hopefully it'll free them up. I'm gonna spray some PB Blaster on 2 valves. I'd assume the ones that were in open position. Maybe not. No, I don't remember which ones they were. So these ones, tapping the rocker, they don't really seem free. I mean, they're not terrible, but all the other ones, if I tap them, you can tell the valves are moving. Springs are compressing fine. Those ones don't really do anything, so I'm thinking those might be stuck open. Those are only 2. Everything else seems fine, so I'll probably try to spray the valve stems as much as I can. Just try to get some PB Blaster or something down in there to let that soak also, since we're just letting it sit right now anyways. And then worst case, I don't really want to do this because I could just throw in a $400 5.3 and be done with it. But worst case, we'll yank the intake, yank the exhaust manifolds off, yank the heads off, check everything out, and then go from there. I mean, you can get, still at the parts store, you can get an old small block, like a 283 head gasket kit. So we'll have intake gaskets, exhaust manifold, pretty much the whole top end. You can get a gasket set for like $35–40. So we'll do that if we have to. Like I said, it's just not really what I want to do. I don't want to put money into this. The whole goal was just to kind of try to get it running with what I've got laying around. And it's gonna need, if we go that route, it's gonna need wires. These wires are junk. I was gonna try to use those. There's at least like 3 or 4 that aren't usable. Needs an ignition coil. Cap and rotor we'll just try to clean up probably. Needs it's got a carb base gasket. We might just try to use that at least to fire it. But that all that is if the engine frees up. If the engine doesn't free up, if we pull the heads off and find it's too nasty in there, the cylinder walls are too rough, if it's not going to be worth our time, then we'll just yank this out, unfortunately, and move on from there. I've got a 350 in the barn. I've got a 5.3 that came out of a 5.3 swap Jeep Commander. I've got a 6.0 block I could use and build up. Or I've got a 302 and 5-speed and a Fox body that I kind of thought about pulling out anyway. I could throw in here. We've got plenty of options. Like I said, I just wanted to get this running because I thought, one, it would make a cool video, and 2, it's already in here. So if I can get it running, get it moving. It ran and drove like this before. So if I can get it running, I should be able to move it. The clutch seems to be okay. It seems to function. Car goes in gear. Yeah, I mean, everything else, I barely tried to pull it to see if in gear if I could get the engine to unseize, and quickly decided I didn't want to do that, but it did lock everything up, so that all appears to hopefully function. So we'll let this soak and get back to it either later today or tomorrow. All right, I ended up pulling the intake and the passenger side head. All the valves seem free on the driver's side head. The passenger side had one that was stuck open that I could not get, and it would be that one. So I'm going to try to get this cleaned up best I can, and you know, it's all pretty nasty. That one's stuck open a little bit. Oh well, we'll try to get all this cleaned up and get this all cleaned up, cleaned out, and then see if the engine will spin over now. The valve was stuck open enough that it was touching the piston. I haven't checked, but I think it's just from sitting. I don't think there's any damage to the piston or anything. Luckily, push rod wasn't bent, so I'd assume it. It's just from sitting. So see if we can't get all this cleaned out and hopefully get the engine turning over now. All right, it's cleaned up some, so let's see what we got. Awesome. Okay, good deal. So we're one step closer. I'll try to get those valves freed up and go grab a head gasket set from AutoZone, and we'll try to get it all back together. Okay, it's day, I don't know, like 100 at this point now. It's a couple days later. So, ran into like issue after issue. I'm almost to where I think we're ready to fire it up. I kind of just skipped through stuff, got stuff installed, going, got it ready to this point, so you don't have to sit through a bunch of boring nonsense. So, I ordered an HEI distributor, just a cheap like Amazon one, because I went to time it, and there was a distributor in it, but it didn't have a rotor button. So I went to the parts store, grabbed a rotor button and a cap kit. That was fairly reasonable. So I went to throw that on, and there were no points in the distributor. Cheap points, like $25 now. I'm sure you can find them cheaper online or whatever, but I was just trying to get stuff done, so I went to the parts store. Cheap points, like $25, so I just returned everything. I was like, yeah, heck with that. I might as well just grab an HEI distributor. So grabbed an HEI distributor. That took a day or two to come in. I don't know what all I talked about on the head part of it. So I had a stuck open valve, got it free. It was bent a tiny bit. It wouldn't have seated. It would have ran. I mean, we could have left it in there just to see if it would run. But I ended up grabbing a valve, replaced this valve, I believe it was. Used some valve lapping compound and a drill, and just kind of tried to get a decent seat. Whatever. So I think I've got everything. I got the distributor in. I just wired 12 volts straight to it, constant, just to see if we can get it to run. I did already check, and it's got spark. I had a couple issues with that, but it's got spark now. So I'm gonna try to get it. I'm gonna dump some gas in the carb. This carb's, most of it's seized up, everything about it. I checked underneath, little butterflies on it are free. It kind of functions a little bit. Should be enough to at least get it to fire. It probably won't run, but if we can get it to fire, I'll be happy. So I'm gonna try to get it to fire without starting the Cummins that I've got hooked up to jump it, just because it's annoyingly loud, and it'll be annoying on the video, and you probably won't even be able to hear this thing firing hardly. So I'll get some gas in here, and I've got a remote starter hooked up instead of going inside and using the key. That way I could check a couple things, because the starter seized up at one point. So fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. All right, got some gas dumped down in there. I don't know if timing's right. I think I got it. Could be 180 out. It could be off. I don't have a hold down right now, so we'll be able to move it a little bit, adjust it. But I got some gas poured down in there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I was getting obviously really slow crank. I ran a new starter cable. I added a ground. Even actually got new jumper cables because I thought mine might be junk. So that has not helped at all. It's still super slow crank. It's trying to fire. You can hear a little bit, so that's promising. So more parts order that I gotta wait on. None of the parts stores around here have a small block Chevy starter other than a high torque mini starter that this isn't deserving of. So I'm gonna order a starter, and then that'll be probably tomorrow or the next day, and then we'll get back after it. Okay, disregard the wind noise, sorry. It's a windy, rainy day in Ohio. We need it, so it's fine. I'm just filming on my phone, so there might be some wind noise. So the second mini starter I got, or like mini torque gear reduction starter, whatever you want to call it, didn't work either. I think that was the last clip. I didn't want to drill the plate out, the flange, and have it not work, so we ended up just getting a OEM one. It's got to be better than what I had, so we are ready to, it's wired up. I've got jumper cables hooked up. Everything's wired in. Distributor, power wires wired back up. I guess we'll see if it'll start or if it'll fire. We don't have the carb on, so I'm just gonna dump some fuel down in the intake. And last time I put the distributor in, it appeared the oil pump shaft might be broken. So we'll see if it'll fire, and we'll go from there. We'll try to get it running. We'll get the carb freed up, cleaned up. It's been sitting forever. Half the stuff doesn't move on it. The little butterfly valve deals are stuck, kind of corroded and stuff. So, all right, that's enough talking. I'll get some fuel down in it, throw you on the stand, and see if we can at least get it to fire. today's the day, decision day. I'm like 2 weeks into messing with this 283. It's not working out, and we're at the point now where I get like 5 minutes out of this starter a day, and I've only got a couple hours a day I can work on this stuff, so I get like 5 minutes out of it, and I let it sit, and that isn't long enough for everything to cool down and the starter to gain its composure and be able to retry. So it's just a waste of money, a waste of time at this point to keep going like this. We'll see if this will be our last ditch effort, and we'll probably mess with it more if I pull it out. Won't have the drivetrain hooked up. We'll just have the engine in the garage on a stand or whatever, and we can mess with it a little bit because I don't want to give up on it, but I don't want to mess with it anymore in this car. I want to make more content with the car. I want to get the build going. I don't want to mess with the engine for 3-4 weeks and get it running, and then it's still going to need, I'm going to have to put new spark plugs in it. The carburetor needs completely rebuilt. The cooling system on it's all gummed up. The engine, or not gummed up, but it's all cruddy. It's all rusty and gross. It'll need enough stuff once I get it running that it doesn't make sense financially. This was just supposed to be a will it start video cheaply, and if we're not accomplishing that, then I don't think it makes sense to keep going. I don't think it makes sense for a will it start. Obviously anything will start if you throw more money, more time at it, rebuild it, do this, that, and the third. That's not the goal. The goal is just to start it with what we had pretty much, and I've already had to buy parts I didn't anticipate. So, all right, that's enough talking. We'll throw jumper cables on it, throw a couple extra grounds on it, and last ditch effort, see if it'll start. Alright, that's it. As you can hear, it's firing, it's trying a little bit, it's cranking slow still. It's not, I've checked timing a million times, retimed it, made sure I wasn't 180 out, adjusted it, advanced it, retarded it a little bit. We're not getting anywhere. It's a waste of time. I'm tired of it. I want to move on. I want to lower it. It'd be nice to pull this engine anyway, clean the engine bay up. Mess with a few things, take all the wiring off the firewall, clean all that up. We won't need any of it because it looks like we'll be doing a 5-3 swap in a day. We'll stockpile a couple parts for that. Don't need much. I've already got just a stock 5.3, stock ECU VATs deleted, stock harness reworked, so it's a standalone. So we've got a few things already. We'll buy or make mounts. We'll probably just buy mounts. I'm sure there's a million options for swap kits out there. And then when I say 5-3 swap in a day, I don't mean just sitting in and getting it running. I mean, anybody could do that in an hour or two. I want to have the cooling system routed. I want to have the trans on, drive shaft hooked up. I don't know the condition of the brakes and everything else on this, so I want it to move. It doesn't mean we're going down the road, but we need to, the engine needs to be in, cooling system hooked up, fuel system hooked up, everything to make it roadworthy drivetrain wise. And then we'll visit the brakes and everything else. We will lower it maybe in that video because I don't know, that'll probably be its own video. But lowering it, it looks like the rear's already lowered, so we'll get into that. The front is not. It's got a little Carolina squat to it, Carolina lean. It looks bad, but the rear's not as low as I want anyway, so we'll probably revisit the rear and put some bigger blocks in it, and the front we'll probably go Astro springs or cut the springs, but that'll be its own video, so we'll discuss that when we get there. But for this video, I hate to be done with it, but it's already, like I said, I'm already 2 weeks into it, so we're gonna say it didn't start. It's a loss. We'll yank it out, and I'll mess with it more once it's out on a stand. We'll get some stuff cleaned up, and maybe pull both heads, check the cylinders out and everything. Cause I don't know if it's just the starter. I've put grounds and ground to the chassis, ground to the frame, ground to the body, ground to the frame. Ran 2 grounds to the vehicle I'm jumping from. Ran an extra positive. I've tried everything to get us the power, make sure we're getting plenty of power. I shortened the positive cable way. The grounds are directly to the, I have 1 ground wire, the rest is all from the vehicle. It's jumping straight to the engine, 1 to the head, 1 to the block, so that's gaining us nothing. Originally that helped a little bit, but that's gaining us nothing now, so I'm over it. We're gonna call that the video. It's a pretty lackadaisical, unfortunately. We didn't have a big fire. We didn't have it start and have nasty smoke. We didn't have, didn't have all the fun stuff that comes with a will it run video, but we're gonna chalk that up as a loss, and in the next one we'll probably be yanking it out and going over some stuff, and yeah, let's get it out. Next video. Thanks.